If you're watching this, chances are you knew my father in life. You probably knew him as Chipper, or maybe as Ernie. Perhaps he was family, or a close friend, or even a work colleague. But this film is about a unique perspective that only my sister and I shared. To best capture his memory, his accomplishments, and his impact on our family, I made this film to show what it was like to have Ernest Elmer Morris Jr. as our father, or as we called him. My dad was born October 12, 1946, to my grandmother Aurelia Palmer Marshall Morris and my grandfather Ernest Elmer Morris Sr. in the city of Fall River, Massachusetts. My Aunt Barbara was his older sister. Their family also had a brother Robert, who died in infancy, living only 13 days. In 1956, my grandfather became superintendent of the Pepperell Textile Mill in Biddeford, and the family moved to Kennebunk, Maine, where they would spend the rest of their lives. Dad was proud to be from Kennebunk. He graduated from Kennebunk High School in 1964. Dad was very athletic, having taken up bodybuilding as an early teen and won state championships in the track and field events of discus and shot put. Physical fitness remained part of Dad's ethos for the rest of his life, and he passed this trait to his children. As he began to assemble a home gym over the years, he purchased a treadmill, which he affectionately called,
well, the gerbulator is a treadmill,
because it made him feel like a gerbil on a wheel. Dad was also musically talented, playing trumpet in the high school band, as well as a local stage band where he was paid to perform on the weekends and at special events. Here's a fortuitous fact. His future wife, Linda Lee Danis, was known to throw rocks at the band when they performed at Old Orchard Beach. After high school, Dad enrolled at Gorham Teachers College and graduated in 1968 with a bachelor's degree in English. He pledged the fraternity Phi Mu Delta, and as my mother described them, they were a bunch of animals. Speaking of, this is where he met my mother, Cynthia Claire O'Rourke of Sherman, Maine. After graduation, my father used his degree to teach high school English in Torrington, Connecticut, for just 1 year. Dad didn't have the patience to teach high schoolers, as he openly admitted. But it was at this time that he discovered karate and other martial arts, and it quickly became one of his most passionate hobbies at the tutelage of Harry Hamsey of Hamsey's School of Self-Defense. He earned a black belt, became an instructor, and entered competitive tournaments. He also moonlit as a bouncer for local bars. Karate was a discipline he was proud of, and it became one of his strongest identities to me as a young boy.
Fighting stance. Quick. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Dad started karate lessons with me very young, and I loved it. Learning karate in the 1980s was almost mandatory for kids. But this was even before the Karate Kid movie. I felt powerful, I felt accomplished, and I felt invincible. Looking back, this had less to do with any techniques that I had learned, but more because Dad made me feel that way. My mother and father were married August 2nd, 1969, and with the Vietnam War draft in effect, he voluntarily enlisted in the United States Coast Guard later that same year. He sailed from Cuba to Iceland and served on several ships, most notably the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Campbell. Dad started his duties as a mail orderly and then became chief radio officer of the Campbell by the end of his service. This introduced him to two major contributions to the rest of his life: two-way radio technology and boating. More on that later. As a boy in the top of my bunk bed, Dad would tell me about his experiences in the Coast Guard. He would describe laying in his bunk in the Arctic Circle, listening to ice grinding down the side of the ship's hull at night. In the morning, the crew would have to break the layers of ice off the ship with baseball bats. They listened for Soviet submarines. They swam in the warm waters of Cuba while spotters looked for sharks. To me, these were exotic adventures, as if my father was a man who had experienced everything, everywhere, in faraway places I would only see in movies. My mother and father were married for 12 years, and by both accounts, they had a lot of fun.
When I think back on all the crap I learned in high school.
They had a basset hound named Penelope. After an honorable discharge from the Coast Guard, Dad used his GI Bill to help purchase a house at 40 High Street in Kennebunk. They had another dog, Boris, named after the villain from the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons. He used his radio training to apply for a job at Motorola selling two-way radio systems. During the interview, he was hired on the spot. This would be the beginning of a 35-year career with Motorola. In 1977, I was born. After I was born, Dad stepped away from Motorola to enter the seafood business. He opened the Seafood Center on Route 1 in Arundel. Here we are on opening day. One of my earliest memories is eating shrimp cocktail that Dad brought home from the market. I also remember going in and seeing all the lobsters and tanks and the smell of fish. He used to tell me stories about mishaps owning the market, like the time an employee forgot to turn on the water pumps and all the lobsters died. Or the most resentful tale of when the White Barn Inn in Kennebunk closed for the season and didn't ever pay the $5,000 in seafood that they owed. After a couple years, he sold the Seafood Center and returned to Motorola, but he always knew what kinds of fish were best and how to make restaurant-quality seafood at home. It would seem that the good times between my mother and father were maybe a little too good, and they were divorced in 1980. I have a distinct memory of my father waving from the front door of their house on High Street, and I was very small and felt very sad. This was the start of a dichotomous relationship with my parents, each living in two very different places. It was also the origin of how my father became a hero to his young son. With the house on High Street sold, my father rented a house on Bayberry Lane at Kennebunk Beach, but soon moved out and got a deal on a little house on Sea Road. The Sea Road house would be ground zero for some of my best and most influential times with Dad. He became the vacation parent with whom I spent all of my time off from school. It was a ritual with my mother and me as we would pack up my clothes and toys for the summer into the Buick and make the drive to Bangor, where they would exchange me at places like the Ground Round or the Ramada Inn. From then on, it was just him and me. Two guys living the dream.
Knock. Come in. Who goes there?
Me, Matthew North.
Stand and be counted. Whoa, zoom boomer. Well, let's see. There's Matthew. Yeah, you can stay back there, honey.
There you are. Hi, Guy. So glad to see you.
Let me get myself adjusted here.
Hi. My name is Ernest E, and I'm going to do a play. The name of my play is Space Twerp. A long time ago, a little space twerp landed on the planet Earth. Whoa! 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 Oh no! I'm upside... Oh my God, I'm upside down!
He was larger than life to me, a hero who knew how to have fun and be funny, and he was very good at navigating the complicated world of adults. In a word, he was cool. We also experienced the bonding power of movies and TV. What kind of things did we watch? Well, let me show you. Looking back, I see this period of Dad's life more clearly now that I'm a father. There was a duality to his life that I sensed as a child, but could only articulate as an adult. As a recently divorced father in his mid-30s, he was coming to terms with what bachelor had beheld for a man who didn't have custody of his son. He was determined to be successful at Motorola, but more so, he threw himself into being a good father. It was obvious to me that he loved me and loved having me around. He showed it constantly. He was never afraid to say it. As a child, I somehow felt responsible for his happiness, and that my absence was difficult for him because he was missing me grow up in all the small ways. But he did everything he could and spared no expense to prioritize me. There were regular letters and cards in the mail. He called me every Sunday and Thursday night, a tradition that continued into my college years. When the 6-hour drive from one end of Maine to the other was growing tedious for my mother and me, Dad flew me from Presque Isle to Portland. He tried to shorten the distance between us any way he could. For a few years, it was just us two guys, but on December 15th, 1984, our duo became a trio.
Someone was saying I loved you to me. On one in a million chance of a lifetime.
From this point, life at Dad's got even more fun, which I didn't think was even possible, but it was. We had tons of fun together. We got a boat named the Beast, which was the start of Dad's passion with leisure boating. We bought a new house. We got another boat, Tigress, the first of 3.
This is the pointy end of the boat, called the bow. The back end of it, being the Tigress, needs to be painted. It's down below Matt's foot here. The hot water heater that makes the hot water for Matt's monthly shower. There's Matt in the mirror.
My family expanded. And speaking of expanding family, it's time I introduced someone else. I don't know if you've ever seen this before. This is the day you came home from the hospital.
Oh. Is it a video?
Yep.
Oh. Okay.
It's narrated by Jerry Ellis.
Oh my gosh, look at his outfit before you even press play. Like, look at those hot pink shorts. Like, oh, and the Jimmy, okay.
Jaime Marie just pulled into the driveway. And I think that's Mother moving around in the back there.
Oh, Jerry.
There's another shot of Linda and her balloons.
Oh my gosh, is she just holding me in the back seat?
We're all waiting the arrival of Jamie. There she's being passed to Daddy. Let's see what happens. There's Mommy getting out. And here we have Jaime Marie and her mother. Get up close up. There they are. There's Jaime Marie. Say hi. Looky there, would you?
Look at the chair.
Oh.
Have you ever seen that before?
No. He always seemed happiest and the most relaxed either when he was home with all of us there, just like around like dinner time, like after the end of the day, just when we're all goofing around at the table.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with the Dairy Queens. There's Jamie Jr. sucking down a butterscotch sundae. Where's all those teeth, Jamie? Okay. Matthew. Where are all those? Oh, yes, a little bit of drool coming out of the mouth. Yeah, oh, I like it, Jethro. Oh, no.
Finishing Jamie's ice cream, are ya, huh?
Caught in the act.
Seeing us sitting around, talking, joking. Like, when I think about him being his happiest, like those moments, those when I would see like the genuine smiles, or that's when he would like kind of let his guard down and laugh a little bit and be silly and tell his stories and jokes.
Here we see Dad trying on his new gel face pack.
Yes, I feel like one of the Ninja Turtles. Putting the gold leaves on the trees. The industrial length and industrial strength, Tim the Toolman, Taylor, Christmas cable.
Yeah, he was not afraid to show his love, his affection, not afraid to show how proud he was. And I guess just in those small moments, like those moments, like everyday things that, you know, that now I miss and just kind of maybe didn't appreciate, just like every morning. What do you want for breakfast? And how genuinely excited he was to like feed those he loved, like breakfast and dinner. My friends now will even talk about that. Like those are some of their memories of coming over and how excited he was to like make dinner for my friends. He's like, oh, you guys are coming over? What do you want? Like, I'll make, you liked tacos last time. Tacos? You want tacos? I'll make tacos. She likes tacos. I'm gonna make them again. But just, you know, and I think about that every time like I make breakfast for my family. Like that's one of the ways that like I show my love for my family is I make sure they're fed. Just remember Dad in the morning in the kitchen being like, do you want an egg? Do you want a scrambled cheesy egg? Little bit of cheese on there? Be good? Yeah. Just
the cheesy egg.
The cheesy egg.
I thought you invented it.
Yeah, right.
Let's go, Jamie! Come on! You can catch her! You can catch her! You can catch her!
He was a very involved dad, which was wonderful, but also sometimes it felt it was hard because I was like, oh, he's a little bit strict. He's very involved, very dedicated, very passionate about being involved in whatever I was doing. Always came to my shows, like for musicals, always came to the band concerts, and then it was like always the chorus concerts, and there's another concert, and there's another game. He was always there.
And now I'm here with Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris,
Hi.
how big were the hippos?
They were almost as big as the boat.
Really? Did they smell?
They smell terrible.
Really, that's great.
There were some moments where I felt it was a lot, but looking back now, just so appreciative of his involvement.
Dad was very proud that Jamie and I attended the University of New Hampshire. He told everyone he knew. He would regularly drive to Durham, New Hampshire and take me out to lunch. I think these visits were more for the father and him than the free meal for me. When I graduated in 1999, he asked me to move back home to Kennebunk to help me save money while I worked my first real job. After a couple years working in a cubicle, I moved with Alice to Albuquerque, New Mexico to try living on my own in a new, exotic place. I don't think Dad understood why I wanted to leave the house we had all made a home over the past decade.
Oh, I think it was really hard, just because I think he was so excited that you were here in the house, and like we were all together.
I guess we know where we are here. Oh, here we are. This Christmas boy.
I know he knew that like you were not going to live in the house forever, but because I graduated and I was like, oh, by the way, when I graduate, I'm going to move into an apartment with my boyfriend. And he was probably just like, but it's like, we'll be in Portsmouth. So at least I think he was probably like, well, at least it's not New Mexico. So he was like, it's New Hampshire. It's not the same state, but at least it's 45 minutes away.
I think these were hard years for Dad. Even so, he still sent me a videotape of Christmas cheer from around Kennebunk.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
When Alice and I moved back to southern Maine in 2003 and became engaged, Dad co-signed a lease for our first apartment in Portland. When I was laid off from my job, he helped me get a new one with a Motorola radio dealer. At our wedding, he handled a plumbing problem at the reception hall so that Alice and I wouldn't be bothered on our special day. A couple years later, he helped with a down payment on our first home.
Yeah, paying for college was huge. Helping with paying for our wedding. He helped out with those a lot.
Dad's love and pride in his children was readily apparent, but Ernest Morris Sr. and Ernest Morris Jr. had a contentious relationship. To Dad's credit, he overcame a generational trap and avoided repeating this animosity with his own children. He was an important role model for openly loving and praising your kids, and not to let an opportunity pass to do just that.
It's hard too, because I do miss hearing that from him. That's something I'm always very grateful for, that I knew he was proud of me. I knew he was very proud of us. And he wasn't shy about telling us. He wasn't shy about being affectionate. So I always knew he was proud. I always knew I was loved.
He really did care about everyone in the family. And you could count on him. When I became a father, Dad gave some advice to Alice and me on the first day of Charlotte's life. He said,
Enjoy it. Goes quick.
Then I didn't understand how life with a newborn could go quickly. But now, I think Dad was talking about more than just parenthood. At this time in our story, we start to lose Dad. Alzheimer's disease was at work, and for years we watched as Dad's world got smaller and smaller. The memories of us together slipped away from him, but he retained a feeling of love and fondness for us even in his last moments. But there is one last memory that I keep coming back to. I'd like to share it with you, if you'll indulge me. June 1984. Having just turned 7, I had arrived to spend the summer with Dad at the Sea Road house. I remember Dad looking in the paper at the Hoyt Cinemas listings and picking out Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. Dad wasn't the biggest science fiction fan, but he knew Star Trek from the 1960s TV show and didn't hate it. I think he found the parallels to real naval command relatable from his time in the Coast Guard. So we went, and let me tell you, this movie had everything 7-year-old me could want. Spaceships, lasers, spaceship lasers, space stations, space dogs, Klingons, karate, fistfights, planets exploding, spaceships exploding, and Captain Kirk wins the day by escaping certain death and saving his friend Spock. We loved it, and going to see Star Trek movies over the years became a special occurrence for us. "40 years later, I was watching TV and Star Trek III happened to be on. I finally remembered that summer when Dad and I saw it in the matinee. But now, something had changed. The movie had a whole new context for me, as if to outline our struggles with Alzheimer's disease. The story is that Spock had died at the end of Star Trek II, but in this film he is reborn on the Genesis planet. Kirk and crew go to rescue him, but find that he is a blank slate. No memories of his friends, his family, or his distinguished life. Spock saved his memories in the character of Bones, Dr. McCoy. Spock is taken back to his home planet of Vulcan, where through more mysticism and arcane ceremony, his memories are returned to him. As a boy, I had wanted to live in the world of Star Trek for all the exciting, exotic things it seemed to offer my imagination. And now, as a grown man, as a father, and as a son, I wanted to live in this world again. But for one very different reason, to make my father whole again. And to be honest, while I wrote this analogy, seeing this Hollywood ending where these very real troubles of memory loss and death were all wrapped up with a bow, the movie left me a little cold. Until I realized I was relating to the wrong character. All this time I was putting myself in the shoes of Captain Kirk, but that wasn't me. The memories of Spock weren't in Kirk. The memories were in Bones. I am Bones. Jamie is Bones. Linda is Bones.
I miss him. And he was a great dad. And he did the best he could, and he did a great job.
Happy birthday, Poppy.
We love you.
Maybe you have a unique memory of him too. We all keep the memories. Real life seldom ends the way the movies do. But in this movie, we have one more chance. I'd like to share one of his last bits of advice he gave to me as an adult. Better yet, he can tell you himself.
Go out and enjoy your life.
You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Sail away, kill off the hours. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, find you a lover. Go away, somewhere all bright and new. I have seen no other who compares with you. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. You belong with your love on your arm. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, go find a lover. Run away, let your heart be your guide. You deserve the deepest of cover.